And I think when you last spoke about transfers, you say you had face-to-face discussions with 2 or 3 different people about potential moves. How much has that progressed at all over the last week?
It's progressed well. I'm pleased with where it's at. As soon as there's news, obviously, we'll let everyone know. We're eager to let everyone know, but these things take a little bit of time. My bit's done, if that makes sense, and now it's over to the other people to finalise the things. But as far as I can see, I'm really pleased with the way 2 or 3 things are going. They're heading in the right direction. So I didn't think anyone would be in before this game, and I didn't really want to disrupt the group either, because the group's quite settled at the moment. So hopefully in the next week or so, we'll see 1 or 2 things being confirmed.
I was going to say, are these either or deals, or is there potential that you could have all 3 bodies through the door?
Yeah, you see you picked a number there, Mark, but it's listen, it could be up to 3 or 4, it could be 1 or 2. They've got to be the right people. So there's been meetings going on. I've not had much time off, if that makes sense, because I've been busy with that along with Ross and everybody else, but I'm pleased with where things are. It's positive. These things are never as fast as the fans want. The window opens and they want the guy there the moment the window opens. It doesn't always work like that, but I'm positive.
The Norwich managers today confirmed Todd Cantwell isn't part of their plans moving forward. Where are you with him? Obviously it's a name that's on the radar at the moment and a player with a lot of ability.
Yeah, he's a player with a lot of ability, and there'll be a lot of interest in him. Like, he's a player that I like a lot, I said last week, but out of respect I can't really say much more than that. I think you're not far off the track for what you are all insinuating.
Just finally from me, you mentioned the eagerness of supporters to get stuff done. How difficult is it to block that out and make the right signings rather than the quick signing?
Yeah, listen, if I don't think they're right for us longer term, and that longer term is to fight for trophies, to compete well in Europe, to do well, then I don't want anyone here short term. So that's probably ruling out anyone that would be coming on loan for 6 months. Like I said previous, I want people that I can build around. There's going to be a change in the summer of some faces. I think everybody's aware of that. And whoever comes in, I need to feel that I can build them the next 2 or 3 years. I want them to come in and be really core players for the club.
Michael, you're saying there's going to be some change in the summer. How important is that if maybe it's a player that could come in the summer on a free or something like that will you push to try and bring that forward early so they've got that 6 months to adapt?
Yeah, for sure. I think we're a club that's done very well with cross-borders in the past. Did we have 8 players start in the Europa League final that were free transfers? So we've been very good at picking up the right people in the market, and when we spent money, I feel that we've done well. Both managers prior to me did well with certain players coming in. So there's an element of all of that going on. I'm really pleased. So as the manager, in terms of listening to what I'm hearing from the board and looking at the players we've identified and me having an impact on that and what I want and my feelings, I'm really pleased we're all aligned. And now it's just a matter of you talk about football, but then the personal stuff, I think, and between the 2 clubs, that's not my job. My job's to talk about football, and I'm really pleased with the way things are going with the targets that we have.
We've seen another couple of teams across the league, target Australia, Asian markets. Rangers still seems to have a bit of a British core. Is that something you prefer to retain that going forward?
Just want good players, Jordan. So wherever they come from, they've got to be right. I think they've got to fit the squad. The key thing for me when it comes to recruitment, what are you recruiting a player for? Does he understand it? Are you trying to change a player, or are you bringing him in to execute in your team what he does very well elsewhere? Is he a player for now? Is he a player for the future? And ultimately, are they going to come in and is the feeling in the group going to be good? I think every coach wants to move quickly. So if you can bring a player into your environment you think is going to blend with the players you've got, you know where he's going to sit at lunchtime, if you know what I mean. He's going to have rapport with teammates. That helps build the team quickly. And so all those things, I think, in the past, the club's done pretty well at, and it's important that I make sure that I make good choices now. Not just for this 6 months, but as I say, for the next 2 or 3 years. I think if you go back to when Stephen first recruited, some of them players are still in the club, and that almost gets condemned. I would say that was very, very good recruitment at the time.
Is the lack of domestic cup success in your last spell here something that still sticks with you?
Yes, but I have to say I think Gio did absolutely fantastic in the cups, all of the cups. I thought he did really, really well. Like the last 2 visits to Hampden have been positive for Rangers, and obviously did ever so well in the Europa League. So fair credit to Gio and his staff for that. And every Rangers manager has to do well in every competition. I'm aware of that. This is my first cup game at the weekend. I'm a very lucky man. I get to play in a semi-final in my first cup game. So, yeah.
How important is it that this Rangers side sees Hampden as a habit and getting into a winning habit at Hampden?
Well, you go there and there's 35,000 Rangers fans going. I think over this week we have 3 games, 1 at a neutral venue and 2 obviously away games. Real tough week, real big week for us in our season, and we'll have in excess of 55, 60,000 Rangers fans visiting those games, so our support is absolutely fantastic. So it doesn't always feel like a neutral venue. Even when we play away at Dundee United last week, it was the Rangers fans I could hear, so our backing's good, that helps. And it's important we keep moving forward. You know, we've scored quite a few goals since I've come in. I'm not massive on XG, I've said that before, but even our nerds in the offices tell me that's in a good place as well.
We heard Aberdeen captain Anthony Stewart say yesterday that he'd prefer to play against Alfredo Morelos rather than Antonio Cholak because he thinks Antonio's a better striker. I just wonder what you make of those comments and whether that's the type of thing that can potentially light a fire in Alfredo if he's on the pitch on Sunday.
Sorry, he said what?
He said he would prefer to play against Alfredo Morelos on Sunday rather than Antonio Cholak because he feels Cholak is a better striker than Alfredo.
That's an interesting opinion. It's a personal opinion of his. I don't know if Alfredo needs any more motivation than playing in a final, and to get to a final and playing in a semi-final. I think that's Alfredo's motivation at the moment. I didn't see that comment, so I'd hate to comment on it without actually seeing it coming from his mouth. So I'll maybe comment on that another time.
How was the fitness of the squad going into this one?
Yeah, good. We had a couple of players miss the early part of the week because they, have been playing with 1 or 2 things. We have 1 or 2 that played again at the weekend, not ideal. But I think as every week goes, we're getting stronger. John Suter's trained now for a week. I'm really pleased with his progress. He's ahead of schedule. This game will come too soon, and probably the Astro at Killy will come too soon. But I'm expecting him to be back in the squad for the St Johnstone Cup game, for example. So that's really good news. And as I say, it's a tough week. We're going to need everybody. Obviously, we have the midweek game late in the evening, and then we travel up to Perth. So it's an exciting week and a big week. And what I've learned in my time at Rangers is there don't seem to be a week which isn't a big one.
Did Cholak okay to take him off the weekend?
Yeah, Cholak's had a slight problem. Will be touch and go for this game, but should be back for the other 2 if he doesn't make this one. But Kamaru's fit and raring to go as well. So that's a real positive for us that Kamaru's available, because I think he's a really high quality player, and remind ourselves he was our top goal scorer when we won the league, and has been really key whenever he has been fit. And let's hope this now we see a run of Kamar becoming fit and healthy over a longer period of time.
In terms of your vision, what you're trying to do here, how much could a League Cup win accelerate that process for you in terms of vindicating your project and what you're trying to do here?
Well, this month we don't want to be any further behind in the league. We want to be in a final, and we want to be in the next round of the cup, and we want to recruit more players that take me towards where I want to go, my vision of where this team needs to go. I want to re-energise the team in terms of age, re-energise it in terms of energy as well, and I want to go on some new journeys. Obviously, I've come back in. There is some new players in the building, like Malik, like Antonio, like John Suter, Ridvan, Tom Lawrence. I've not been able to work with all those guys just yet, only Malik probably regularly. And then I want to bring some exciting players in. It's important I have players in the building I'm really excited to come in and work with as well. It's important that we have players come in that re-energise the rest of the group and create a bit of heat for positions.
You mentioned that turnover in the summer. There could be always the players. This could be the last season. How important is it that, should this be whoever players last season at the club, that these trophies are won and that history is made by their time here?
Well, there's very few teams around the world that can win, that generally at the start of the season think they can win. So maybe in every country there's 2 or 3 teams that think, yeah, we've got a chance of winning in a cup competition, a league competition. We're very fortunate. We're a team in this country that believe when the season starts that we can win. So while you're here, you have to take every opportunity to win in games like this at the weekend and get to finals and have a chance to get towards trophies. If you look even in the Premier League and the Championship, and you look around Europe, how many managers at the start of the season actually believe they can win? For some teams in the Premier League, winning might be getting into Europe. Here, winning is actually you have to go and win trophies. I'm aware of that. That's what I've come here to try and do. I think last year we improved our cup record because we won the Scottish Cup for the first time in a number of years. Full credit to the players and Gio for that. And I'm hoping that I can settle my own score in the League Cup.
Just last couple in the room, please.
It's not pressure, it's expectation. And if you ain't got no expectation, I think, again, you're probably not working at the level you'd like to.
Michael, when you were here before competing in semi-finals and finals, the squad didn't have that experience of actually winning a trophy. Now that you're back, the guys have won a Scottish Cup, won the league title under yourself and Stephen before. Do you think that experience will be vital to help in these big matches?
I think so. The last 2 visits to Hampden are much better than the one before that, to be honest. And I've had some good and bad days out there with Rangers. I just think that they're good games. We're playing an opponent that knows us really well. We played them, 4 or 5 games ago. They would have feel that they did well in that game. I came to the game at Ibrox where Rangers were clearly the better team. Both games have had goals, so hopefully for the neutral that's the case. But certainly we're only focused on winning this one first, and then when we get to the final, whoever joins us there, that will be another challenge for us.
Michael, one of the exciting players you already have at the club, as we've seen in recent weeks, is Fashion Sakala. 3 goals in his last 6 games, and he's really kind of ignited since you came back. James Tavernier yesterday was saying he's a joy to have around, and you get the impression from him that he's just a great addition to the dressing room. Can you give us a little insight of what it's like to have Fashion Sakala around the place? And
he's like the nicest man in football, Fashion. I'm sure you have had the chance to interview him, see that big smile. He's happy with life. I think you have to meet Fashion with the same energy, because that's what he's, a bubbly character, and I think he's always tries his socks off. He always gives you everything he's got, and then if you can help him with one or two bits of advice. So I thought, if you go back to a couple of weeks ago in the old firm, in the first half he tried ever so hard in his pressing, his tackling, but didn't do so well in possession. In the second half he was a completely different player. He had a similar performance at Dundee United as well. I thought it was a fantastic goal, the way that he took it with his right foot and his left foot. And at the moment he's in good form. And why he's in good form, I think we do our best to keep him there. But he's genuinely, when we recruited him a couple of years ago, we recruited a really fantastic young man, and I think he's now fulfilling maybe the potential that he showed in Belgium before coming here.
And finally from me, you talked about the week ahead, such a crucial 6 or 7 days in 3 different competitions. How important is the balance between intensity and switching off in those 6 days so it doesn't become too intense?
Well, you can only play 1 game at a time, and I'm going to have to use the whole squad. I think that's fair to say over the 3 games. So by the end of the week, we'll have another judgment of where this Rangers group and where me and my management team are. I'm looking forward to that, and probably in a week, 10 days time, the state of my face will probably tell you the state of the team.
Colin?
In terms of players potentially exiting during this window, there's been some speculation this week around Alex Lowry maybe going out on loan.
No, it's not in the plans. No, at this moment in time, it's not in the plans for anyone to leave the building that's in the first team squad. Alex obviously started against Motherwell, did okay, did quite well. He would like to have done better, but I thought for a young player going in, I thought he did fine. We won the game 3-0, so no harm done. He had a slight calf issue after that game, which meant he's missed the last squad, came back to training just before the Dundee game. So I took the opportunity for him to go and play in the B team game where he scored a hat-trick. So it's a completely different level, mind. And I would expect him to go there and be dominant. But that's the reason why you haven't seen him since that game. He actually had a slight issue after the Motherwell game.
Thank you.
Michael, you've switched between goalkeepers the last few games. Is the intention for the rest of the season to continue that rotation? And if that's the case, would Robbie McCrory be part of that rotation?
Yeah, definitely so. Like in terms of Robbie getting an opportunity between now and the end of the season, he's got an ankle ligament injury, so he's been out 2 weeks and he'll be out another 2 to 3 weeks. So he's not been in contention, unfortunately. But Robbie's a guy that I've got a lot of faith in. He's a young goalkeeper that needs an opportunity. He's shown he can play in our top division on loan and do well. He's broken into the Scottish squad as well. So at time, you go off what you see in training. So if anyone. I have no bias towards any players here. You earn the shirt in training. I felt that it was a right game for John. because I expected the game to go a certain way. He didn't go that way, but we got a clean sheet with John and we won the game, so no harm done. Once Robbie's fit, the plan will be between now and the end of the season, I'll want to give Robbie an opportunity to try and showcase that he can be the number one here at Rangers moving forward as well.
Okay. Guys on the Zoom, Derek.
Good afternoon, Michael. You mentioned Recruitment and Tom Lawrence earlier. I just wondered if you could give us an update on how the recoveries are coming along.
Ridvan will be another 3 to 4 weeks before he plays. Tom Lawrence, at the moment, he's just doing isolated rehab. As I say, he had a slight discomfort, nothing major at this moment in time, but we're just seeing how he goes on with the rehab. So he's probably been delayed. If all goes to plan, you'll see Yanis Hadji in the St Johnstone home game at the end of the month.
And some of the games that on your tenure so far, Michael, it's taken a half-time team talk from yourself to get a bit of reaction in the second half. Is that a slight concern? I guess you'll be hoping that they can start from the off on Sunday.
Well, Dundee United weren't going to walk out the way and let us kick it in the goal, so I would say that over the game we probably wore them down and got what we deserved. I think always when you go back in at half-time, it's your job to maybe tweak a couple of things and maybe get into one or two individuals. It's part of the game that I like, and fair credit to the players for responding. I felt the game was very comfortable at Dundee United. I've been there a few times where it's been very, very difficult and I've not enjoyed the days out there. I thought we pretty much controlled the game in the first half, but then we had to make sure we went on and won it second half. And in a space of 7 or 8 minutes, we were very ruthless and scored 2 good goals. I think the first goal was over 20 passes, so it's something that I've been asking from the boys to play with different speeds and to control the tempo and control the ball more, make less passing errors. So I was pleased with that. And you got to remind yourself that the group wasn't overly confident a month ago, and slowly does it.
Lindsay?
Hi Michael, can I just ask you about the 2 American lads that are both obviously on loan? Have you made the decision on triggering their purchase clauses at the end of the season?
No news on that yet. Sansi's had a bit of a knock. He was listed in the bench at Dundee United but wasn't fit once we actually got to the stadium. He didn't feel right to play, so Sansi's not returned to training yet, so he's obviously a massive doubt. He'll return to training tomorrow for this weekend. He had a slight muscle issue. And to be fair to James, he's had to play predominantly as a centre-back, you know, and even back to the games under Gio at PSV, which were fantastic results. He come in as a guy that could play in midfield and play at centre-back if required, and has had to play at centre-back maybe more than we expected, even when I first come in and we had the injuries. So I'd like to give him an opportunity to play a little bit more in his favoured position before we make any decision on that one. And James is a great boy to work with. I think Malik at this moment in time is showing that he's one of the stronger players in the league. It's fair to say that I'm working very hard on him in some areas of his game, and he's responding really well, and he's a key part of the team right now. So both situations are ongoing. There's no rush on those because our deadline's obviously later in the summer for that.
Michael, you were part of the coaching staff the last time Rangers played Aberdeen in a semi-final. It was a couple of years ago now, but what recollections do you have of that game, and what lessons can you take from it to ensure you come away with a victory this time?
We dominated the game, we lost it to a set play, and we're a much more mature team now. Set plays will still be important. They have been important since I've come back into the club. It's a game where there was a lot of regret because for different reasons we never really had a forward that was fit and in a good place at the time we played the game. But I remember the game well because we dominated it, but we didn't win in the boxes. And when you play in big games, you have to win in both boxes, and that will be key. It's key every week, but certainly in a semi-final or final, the performance is secondary to the result, and so we have to win in the boxes at the weekend.
Hi Michael, you spoke a wee while ago about confidence returning to the group. How much do you think this occasion, this weekend, can give you that supercharger you're looking for, and really get the guys believing in themselves and what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I think look, every day we're working really hard behind the scenes. Obviously, we trained really well today, and now probably our training will be very minimal now for the next 7 or 8 days. I think what we try to do is not change for anyone, so we try to have a real set style of play that we adapt little bits, but we don't change for our opponent. So I don't think there'll be any surprises for Jim and Aberdeen, and they'll bring their best, and they've got nothing to lose, but neither have we either. We've got everything to gain as well, and I think we've been very comfortable in 3 of the last 4 games getting clean sheets, and that's a good sign. And as I say, we've been scoring goals at the other end, and I think we can be even more ruthless. I think we can take even more of the chances we create. And if we perform at our truest level, it'll give us a great opportunity to have a nice day out. If we don't, the game could get sticky, because I expect Aberdeen to bring their best version. And I think on their day, they're a good side.